everybody. We are back today with Brandy of Brandy Burrow Astrology, and we are going to be looking at the death of Amber Hagerman. She is the 9-year-old girl who inspired the Amber Alert system, who was found dead on January 17th of 1996. She went missing on January 13th of 1996 in Arlington, Texas, and was found not far from where she was taken, really. I mean, in the same
4 miles, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty close to, yeah. And she, I mean, the story is interesting because her death was very tragic, but it did inspire this system of trying to find missing children, and that's really, I mean, from something so tragic came something pretty amazing, really, if you will.
Yeah. As of 2021, 1,029 children were recovered from the Amber Alert system, which the idea came from Amber's mom, and I think another local citizen got together and created this.
Yeah, I can't remember the other local citizen's name, but she was like just totally sick about what had happened to Amber and kind of got on the stick to have something done about it too, which is just, yeah, it's as tragic as this was, there is something kind of inspiring about taking something so tragic and doing something good coming from it, if you will.
Yes, they created a way to prevent so many other families from having to experience what they did.
Yeah. Should we take a look at the chart for when she went missing?
Yeah, absolutely. And just while you're pulling that up, I was watching the documentary about this case. You can stream it on Peacock, and man, an emotional documentary. It's just so tragic and such a hard story to listen to. And but like what you said, what came from it, the Amber Alert system. And I think, the whole reason we do these videos is to show there's other tools to use, to get information in cases, and kind of why we do this, right? To kind of to try to pull something good and something useful in this,
Yeah, in a situation that's not so ideal or good, or
Yeah. So here we go. This is the time the 911 call came in. So she gets abducted, and a guy living across the street from the area of the abduction witnessed it.
Yes. Yeah. Witness. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, she and her brother were riding their bikes around a parking lot. There wasn't, I believe it was like an old grocery store, right? That wasn't functioning anymore. It wasn't open anymore.
Right. And then there was like a little strip of, I guess you could say, like spaces, like there was a laundromat, but it wasn't visible, or there wasn't any windows from that laundromat to see, the kids where they were riding their bikes. But yeah, it was basically an abandoned grocery store with some smaller retail spaces going on.
And they were just riding their bikes around. Her brother wanted to leave. She stayed.
Yeah, so they were supposed to ride around the block. They were not supposed to go to where this parking lot was. And the other little kids, they went, and the brother said, "Oh, we better go home. I don't want to get in trouble." And she said, "Go ahead, I'll be right behind you." And I mean, in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. And the neighbor, it was a white van, right? White van.
Yes.
Not mistaken. With the neighbor said that it was a male that abducted her, not African American, could have been Hispanic, Caucasian, wasn't real sure about anything beyond the person not being African American. And he heard Amber scream, which is what kind of alerted him to, take notice of what was going on. And yeah, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy when you think about how fucking fast shit like this I mean, really, like, your life can fucking change like
It's scary. Yeah.
It really, it really is. It's fucking terrifying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So the guy witnesses, the neighbor across the street witnesses a guy taking her off the bike, and he thought it was odd because the girl screams and the guy leaves the bike behind. So it wasn't, he knew from the way it looked that this was an abduction. This is not someone she knew.
Yeah, it wasn't like a parent being like, get your ass home, let's take your butt, you know, it wasn't nothing like that. It's somebody just, yeah, snatching her in broad daylight. I mean, this was at 3:18 p.m. This wasn't
on a Saturday, on a very nice day in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They mentioned it being unseasonably warm, and like, so people were out. And I mean, this motherfucker had some balls. I mean, for like, and not in a good way. I don't mean had balls in a good way. Like this is, but for real, like this is not the time of day or that you would think something like this would happen. You would expect this like at midnight or, you know, under the cover of darkness.
And the witness saw he was in a black truck and saw he was heading west. And this is how the Amber Alert system was created, because they said if everybody had known, if a broadcast had come out on the radio, there'd have been so many people on the streets see the car and be able to track it. And yeah.
Oh, I think it was a black truck. I was saying a white van. I'm crazy.
I thought you said something else. I thought you said, was it a van when you were asking if it was about the witness?
No,
sorry.
So anybody watching this, ignore me talking about a white fucking van. I'm thinking about something else I was reading about.
And sorry. I thought you said, was it a man? And I said, yeah. Sorry.
You're right. It was a black fucking truck. Sorry about that, everybody.
Too many rock concerts, my hearing. But yeah. Okay, so black van. No, sorry, black truck. No van. All right.
So the first thing I noticed here in this, and I know like she was a minor, so we could be looking at the ruler, the fifth house. We could be looking at the first house, at the ruler, at the chart ruler too, right? You can look at both.
You can. Like normally with children, I would go to a fifth house, but because that moon, her co-ruler, is sitting in the fifth house, like, I feel like you can take Mercury and the moon for this one, but I don't know. That was me.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that makes sense to me. For sure. Yeah. That is interesting that moon just happens to be right in the fifth house like that.
Yeah. And so many things I don't like about this that are just disturb me about this chart. One is the Gemini ascendant.
Yes.
I think this guy, the perpetrator, has done this before, maybe not in the same area, but at some point somewhere, because we commonly see Gemini and ascendant when there's more than one victim.
Gemini, Libra is another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you also have Mercury in the 8th.
Oh, that 8th house. Yeah, and it's sandwiched between Mars and Uranus, and yeah, such a full 8th house. And the moon via combusta, not good.
Yes. In that area. Yes. In that area. What is it, from 15 Scorpio to like 15 Libra to 15 Scorpio?
Right. And that's common to see that in a lot of crimes. You won't see it in everyone, but it does happen in a lot of violent crimes.
It's also interesting. The node also happens to be there too. I don't know that. I mean, it just kind of.
Yeah. And so you got this Pluto in the 6th house. And in a crime that, or murder, I do like to see what's going on with Pluto, kind of, even if it's not ruling anything, but it's in the 6th house. That guy is sitting around watching.
Yeah.
Like stalking, almost. Not stalking her specifically, but watching that area, like waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, and he also feels, I'll say this, he feels, because for these charts, for people that haven't watched these before, the perpetrator is represented by the 7th house cusp, and and the planetary ruler of the seventh house. And in this case, we have Sagittarius on the cusp of the seventh with Jupiter in the seventh. So there's also something about this that makes me think this person felt comfortable in the area. I realize we have Sagittarius on the ascendant. I know that can sometimes indicate like foreign, right? Like it can, or somebody not necessarily somebody foreign to the country, but somebody foreign to the area. I don't know though. That Jupiter, there's something about this Jupiter there to me that feels more comfortable than somebody that do you know what I'm trying to say?
I agree. And Jupiter being in Capricorn, it's in a fall, by the way. But in Capricorn, kind of a very, a Saturn ruled sign, kind of like secure, delay. It makes me think he's in that area, like close
from that area.
I think he is or he lives there. Maybe he originates from another country. Sometimes simply a Jupiter descendant can mean someone kind of heavy and overweight too. I don't know about, I was trying to find details on the build of the guy and I couldn't really, I don't know if I missed it.
I feel like this is weird. Talking about the build, I think this person was probably shorter.
Yeah, it can be kind of a short and
especially with Jupiter being in fall like that. There's something I know Sagittarius and Jupiter usually give height, but there's two. But to me, this like Jupiter and Capricorn seems shorter, maybe stocky, but like shorter.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the fact that like Jupiter's in that house, the guy's on his turf, right? So yes, he's got to be familiar with that parking lot at least, but I think he's familiar with it because he lives somewhat close by. That's my opinion. Yeah. And we'll see when we get on the map. What I don't like about this is he was reported as leaving that parking lot and going west into town, into Arlington, like where it's populated, away from highways. So it wasn't like he takes her and is trying to get out of the area. He goes west into town. And the road he's taking west follows that Jupiter line.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I kind of put that together afterwards. When I was looking at he's going directly west, and this is like 2 degrees above that direct west. And that road kind of slants that way.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely took a look at the map that you sent, but I wasn't like that's cool though. That's very interesting.
Well, I went and rewatched the documentary and the witness said he went west and I was like, west, what's going on in the chart? And then I realized it's exactly on that 2 degrees Capricorn.
Fuck, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And then also the 10th house. The 10th house, right? The cusp has Pisces on it. Also, traditional ruler being Jupiter. And I know we've talked before, like the 10th house can be like law enforcement response, public response. Kind of makes sense to have a Pisces 10th house there, right? Because it's like, because it's like nobody, it's very unclear, right? Like it is clear she went missing, but it's unclear what the fuck happened.
It's murky.
And also, sometimes that house can, like slipping the chart, right? It can represent like the home of the perp, right? Or whatever. So you also have, you got the 10th house bending to that Jupiter. So it also kind of backs up the idea that this person feels like they were on their turf.
Yeah. And so she was found in a creek behind an apartment complex. And there is maybe some theories, nothing that's they found evidence for, but maybe that perpetrator lived there at one point, because this creek you wouldn't know about.
Unless you were familiar with should I pull that chart for when she was?
Sure.
Should I?
Yeah, real quick, I'll say the Saturn, which can represent the body of someone missing or the victim, is in Pisces as well in water.
Which makes sense with,
Yeah, we can pull the chart of when she was found.
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead and pull that since you started talking about
Sorry.
No,
Gemini. I'm like rushing ahead.
no, it's all good. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and so this is now this chart here. This chart here, it may not be exactly 11:30, but that's like the time that the officer, I think it was around 11:30 that he mentioned getting the call that that they may have found her body. So 11:30 seemed like a close, yeah. This was at 11:30 p.m. in Arlington on January 17th, 1996. So just like 4 days later.
Yeah. And depending on how you want to look at this chart, if you want to follow the rulers of the original chart, you now have Mercury in the 4th house of endings and outcome. Yes. Jupiter is now in the 3rd house.
I mean, he feels like he's on the
nearby.
Move, maybe?
Yeah. He's either on the move, and it could be like, oh, I'm in the car, something, developments have happened, or he's nearby in a neighborhood, because this can like indicate a neighborhood.
Good point.
That disturbs me. Like, I'm just like, I mean, I don't know why that disturbs me. I mean, the whole thing's disturbing whether the person's nearby or not. But I mean, like, it just makes me think he's right there in the community.
Yeah, but that is creepy though. If you think about like somebody having done something like this and they're just like a part of daily life. Yeah, there's a creepiness to that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to take the ruler of this chart and start over here, it's Venus in the 5th house of children again.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It is. And you also have, it's also the ruler of the Taurus is on the cusp of the 8th. So, also being there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I just noticed that moon in this chart is very close to the galactic center.
Oh yeah, I so fascinated because I don't ever do that at the galactic center, and I'm like so fascinated by that information. Tell us more.
Well, it just makes me wonder because you've also got there's some midheaven there. It feels like this case was kind of bound to be weird. Like a weirdness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, okay, so the GC is a place, okay, the GC is a place, it's like things die and are also, but there are things that come out of the GC too. So it's almost it kind of fits with this thing, right? Like this terrible, it kind of fits with this awful thing happened, but they did create something good from it. Do you know what I mean? Like the Amber Alert system. So I didn't even notice that before, but that actually makes
that is interesting. Yeah, you have this very, very tragic situation, but many lives saved from what was learned about it or what they realized could have been done. Yeah.
Yeah, that is that. Yeah. That's and with the mid or the 10th house cusp being like the public's reaction to it. I don't know, the public bending. I don't know. It just and the 3rd house being, or the moon being in the 3rd house community, like local communities coming together to do this. Sorry, that was loud. Some asshole over here with a fucking horn keeps doing this. But it kind of that makes sense too, right? Like people coming together to try to
Yeah, this community really came together when she went missing. I mean, for the 4 days that lapsed between time she was abducted and then found, and that community was out everywhere looking for her. Which is really,
it really is. I mean, yeah, they really did try to band together and it was very touching there's a touchingness about that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Should we look at the map?
Sure.
So mapping is really interesting when you pull the astrology to try to look for someone missing. This one was kind of different, but we have where she went missing and then where she was found. And if you follow the angle going from 1600 East Abram Street up to 2908 Forest Hollow where she was found, it is between like a 19, 20, 21 degree line. And, you know, kind of depending which part of the marker you aim it towards. But that is exactly where the south node is at on the time she went missing on that chart. Now, normally, like if I'm looking at a missing persons cases, I wouldn't start at the south node line, but knowing the story, knowing what happened, knowing like about really her legacy, which is the Amber Alert system, and it being on a nodal line, just that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, like anytime that I've tried to map stuff, I've never even really focused on that.
No.
I really haven't.
No, but you know, knowing from the witness report that he went west on, you'd have to zoom in the map on Abram Street where she went missing. So he went west on the map. Knowing that with an astrology chart and knowing, okay, that's on that Jupiter line, you know, I'd try to like maybe make a radius of how far that Jupiter line's stretching through town. And then, all right, what black trucks line up with the houses around the street that this is on? You know, that's kind of maybe a direction it would go knowing this information.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes, yeah. The way that you can do like online is with like scribble maps, which neither of us have right now.
There is a free version I've been playing with.
But scribble maps is pretty cool. It lets you do the radius. It lets you do the,
yeah. And you know, with the radius, you would start looking at the ascendant, which is 21 degrees Gemini on that chart. So, and I don't think he's 21 miles out, but I would make a radius that big and follow that Jupiter line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not in the business of pointing fingers, but that's some information that someone had, maybe some old archives. I don't know.
Let me see. I'm going to pull the first chart one more time. Since this is like, I mean, this is kind of the big thing with the case is like that, who possibly did it. And,
yeah. I
mean, neither one of us are going to name any names, but or any, because honestly, we don't really have any names.
No, there's no suspects really that I know of.
Yeah, I couldn't really find any either. There were people that I know, there were certain names that were tossed around, but they didn't seem to be tossed around for very long. You know what I mean? Like they were just kind of.
Oh, right. Yeah, if you watch the documentary, I think the father, there was a friend, but I think he eventually got cleared. But yeah, they were looking into some of those people briefly.
Let's see. Should we see if there are any fixed stars at either 21 Sagittarius or 2 Capricorn?
Yeah. And maybe that south node, since it played an important part of the map. Yeah.
Okay. So there is one, it is like, there's one fixed star at 1:16 Capricorn, 1 degree, 16 minutes Capricorn, one fixed star at 3 degrees, 13 minutes Capricorn. So I guess I could look at both.
Yeah.
Because it's like right in the middle at the 2:22.
I think that's good.
Okay. So at 1 degree Capricorn, there is one, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this.
By the way, we never pronounce fixed stars. We just go for the meaning.
Yeah, for real, because I'll just butcher the shit out of this if I try. So.
And I won't do any better. So
this is interesting though. It says eye trouble, blindness, or bad eyesight.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's all it is.
So maybe and this was around Jupiter, right? So maybe someone with bad eyesight.
This is 1 degree, 16 minutes Cap. Yeah, right around the Jupiter. Yes.
Huh.
Okay, then there's one at 3:13 Capricorn. High ambitions, domination, success, keen perception. It's actually fortunate for Jupiter.
And we've seen that before when a perpetrator's planet has been aligned with a fixed star that's a fortunate planet where they're not getting caught.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense here, that particular, that he would be right next to one that, that was fortunate for Jupiter. The eyesight thing though is very interesting. I wonder if that's very descriptive. That's a very weird, because that's all that fucker means. That's a very weirdly descriptive, it's kind of,
that you might put that on the list of the traits for the perpetrator for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so then there's also one it's closer to this one. It's closest there's one at 2054 Sagittarius, and then there's one at 2227. It's probably closest to that one.
Mm-hmm.
It says trouble with women, drugs, poisoning, hallucinations, medicines, infections, and mystical healing. I don't know. I'm not sure.
What about the other one?
You're like, I don't know really what to say about that. I don't really either. Okay, so the one at 2054 is truthful, just, righteous, and benevolent, interest in architecture, and Freemasonry.
Okay, but just or justice?
Just.
Okay.
Benevolent. This person does not, maybe they seem that way otherwise. I don't know. Maybe it's possible.
Oh yeah.
That even though they seem creepy with that Pluto in the 6th, like it just feels creepy. Maybe they don't come off creepy.
No, and I'm just thinking, because Jupiter could also be someone who is religious or.
Yep.
So, this is just like I said, we don't have anyone in mind who this could be. There weren't really any suspects, but these are just common traits from planets, what they represent. So it could be someone that maybe they're an upstanding citizen in the community, or that's how they look, go to church every Sunday, and they're a totally different person outside the public.
What about somebody in politics?
Possibly. I wondered about that with the Capricorn.
And like the belief thing, Jupiter being beliefs, and that can also, I bleed over into, any kind, I don't know. Seems, yeah, they really could be somebody. They could, if they're even still alive, but this was close to 30 years ago. But at the time, perhaps somebody within like a local church or something, or somebody within politics that, did seem like you said, like an upstanding citizen or.
It makes you wonder, because this person, if they live in the community, thinking and knowing they could get away with this and doing it in broad day, it's just weird. Is someone who isn't worried about, like you get crimes and people are like, oh yeah, that guy was really weird. We've always thought he was weird. Like this is someone probably not like that. Like
somebody that you would, somebody who you would never expect.
Yeah.
There is one at the South Node at that 2134 Aries. There is one at 2148.
Okay.
It represents isolation, depression, accidents, immigration, and shipwrecks.
Immigration.
So
are maybe we looking at someone who immigrated? Yes, maybe he's a local citizen, but
somebody not from
a different country.
Or even, with how big, sometimes with Jupiter, even like with how big the US is, sometimes I think of it as somebody that just came from a different state.
Yeah.
Especially depending on the size of the state. And Texas is fucking huge.
We saw that in the Moscow,
yes.
Idaho murders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it does, I mean, but also, but immigrate. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Also, it's possible it's somebody that wasn't originally from US soil or whatever.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about any of these charts or any?
These charts are pretty direct in what it shows. You know, with the 8th house, the 5th house of children. Yeah, even down to Saturn being in Pisces and a water sign. And yeah, I'd say they're really simple charts to describe what happened.
They are. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Here, I'm going to go and stop this. And since we're cutting this one a little bit shorter today, because my child is going to be back soon, he's going to be running around like a nutcase.
Time limits, yes.
But do you want to share where you can be found?
Thank you. Yes, brandyburrowastrology.com, and you can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Brandy Burrow Astrology. And Ellie, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Let's F with Astrology. You can find me online at saturnseason.com and on Instagram at saturnseason astrology.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yes.
Oh, and also for everybody watching this, because some people have mentioned, you know, cases that they would like to see us look at. If anybody has any requests, let us know. And if anybody has anything they want to add to this about Amber Hagerman, let us know that too in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know. I purposely did not go into the manner of her death. I just didn't need to. So maybe just about the astrology. I don't know about, you know, but yeah, if you want to add maybe information, someone, you know, maybe they've sorry, I'm losing my words. Maybe someone has watched or studied more about the case and might have more details about a suspect or something like that. Would love to know.
Yeah, but I agree. I didn't want to go into, I didn't really want to go into that either. The children, I mean, death in general, but children, I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and
Ellie, I appreciate you having me back. And
well, thank you for wanting to be here.
Until next time.
And we'll see all of y'all later.